This is DIGM 2350 Monday lab. We are looking at lab assignment 5, which is located on public on a server under lab materials, DIGM 2350, and go ahead and copy the entire folder onto your home, somewhere you can put it so you can work with it, okay? Now with that, now the instructions are there as well, so you can look at them, but we may modify a few things, like we will do our own components, okay? So follow me, because those are more generic instructions and they're more specific when you have to finish something at home. So with that, let us go ahead and create a new document in Illustrator. Okay? So we will create a new document. Let me see how many artboards we will need. We probably can fit this one in 1, 2, 3, maybe let's do 3, and if we need to add more we can. So go ahead and name it right away with your last name, first name, initial, underscore, assign 5, underscore. Now if you Monday the first lab, which you are, do M1, if you the second M2, and Wednesday W. Okay, 3 artboards. 8.5 by 11 is fine. And you should have this. So first thing we're going to do, and actually before we go into this assignment, I want you to see something that neat. Remember when we did the polygonal tool and then we divided it and did all that stuff? I want you to kind of see what other things you can do using other options, not only the live paint. So what I want you to just do really quickly on here on this artboard is go ahead and draw a polygon again. So go ahead, select your polygonal tool and have no stroke, so cut the stroke out. And then the fill, we will go ahead and do the same thing as we did before the previous assignment and choose that to be like a mid gray shade. I did 50% K. K is black. Key color, that's why K. And just draw it out. You can make it big if you want. Hold the shift key so it's proportionate. So this. Okay. And this is just for practicing. I know Wednesday lab, if you're gonna be watching this video, we haven't done that, so this is extra bonus. And go ahead and we will create another one based on this one. So just copy that. So Command C, Command Shift V to paste in place. Then hold the Shift key to make it smaller. Okay, smaller, put it right in the middle. And go ahead, fill that with like a light shade. So you've done that light shade, okay, of gray. Now, something else we will do called blending. Right, so let us select both shapes. Okay, this time I didn't put any lines. And go ahead, navigate under Object. Then go under Blend. Now do not click Make. Make will just give you default options. You want to go to Blend Options first. That was in your video. So there are different kinds of blends that we have. You have the smooth, specific, and all these. Specified. So smooth, it just moves it out. I'll show you what it means. Steps, how many steps you want it to take. I mean, you can specify as many as you want. Distance, again, you're measuring the distance in inches, or what you can put points and pixels. Okay, and also distribution. So for these two, let us go ahead and do steps. And let's just do 5. Okay. Too bad preview is grayed out. Let's do okay. Did it do it? Okay. It didn't work. So now, why it didn't work? Let me pause this. What happens when I'm sick all weekend? Go ahead and select it again. So now, good lesson for you. If you only do an option, so you have to do make now. And there it is. This little blend. So you should have 5 steps, right? So what you can do with this, how can you integrate live paint into this? We can still do, let's say now, and you can do this or like watch. I can select, I clicked out of this, I will select my line segment tool, and I can draw lines. Again, make sure that line is filled with black stroke, not fill. And usually with the line, you have to draw the line first. Okay. So I can divide it. Notice I divided it into different pieces. Just watch. And then I can do object live paint. Right. Now, one thing that doesn't let me do, these lines, sometimes when you do the blend, we didn't release it yet, did we? It's just a blend. They are not separate shapes, or we didn't expand it. So in order for the live paint to work, this blend has to be converted to different shapes. So go back, select that back shape, object, blend, and then do expand. So now it's like separate shapes, you see? Otherwise, it's just blending one to the next. Now we can select them all. Go under object again, live paint, and we can make. Right. So now you can color any of these sections that are divided. You can color them all in different colors. Now that's more work, but I just want you to see how blending, live paint, expansion, how it all works. Right. And if I want to paint it now, I can go to my shape builder tool, select my fills, and I can color them. Now, if you have more lines, you can do even more work with this. Okay. All right. Guess what? We're just going to delete it. We're not going to use this. We're going to do another blend. This time, I want you to go ahead and you can have just one shape that you use. Let's maybe choose a star and pick color for it. You can have any color you want. I'm just gonna do yellow. Okay. And we will select a different shape, and again. Now it matters which shape is in front and which one is behind for the blend. It makes a difference how the shapes are blended for the blending, okay? So we can even do a shape that's, let's say you want to do a circle. So let's do our lips and choose a different color for this one, okay? I'm going to do purple. I'm just going to put them for now like next to each other so you can see. Now for now I just want you to watch because we may not go with the same direction on this. We may just go and make a few changes. So right now we should have two shapes. I want to show you something you can do. Object, blend, blend options. I just don't like when that preview, I don't know what happened to it. Preview is gone. Yeah. And then you can change it, which I don't like. But anyway, so we will go back into this. So right now, if I specify distance, if you're good with math and you want to know how distance it is, maybe you're doing a grid, that's where you can do it. I'm just going to go with more steps, maybe 8. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So once I did it, again, I have to go make now, which is Command Option B. So notice how whatever is on top blends to the one on the bottom, right? I really don't like this look. I would like the star to be first. So what I have to do, I'm going to undo it. So what we have to do, we have to send either the star, bring it to front, or send that shape underneath to back. So go ahead and select the second shape, right click, transform, not transform, arrange, send to back. So arrange, send to back, okay? And I want to put it a little closer. And just go ahead and go object, blend, and make. Just make it right now. Okay, so something like this. And notice how, okay, so you notice it's made. Now we can go, once you make it, go ahead and go to your blending options. So object, blend, blend options. Click the preview. And now you see the difference. Do the smooth color on top. You see how it smooths it out, makes it nice. kind of gradient. There's no steps. But can you do different shapes with this one if we wanted to expand it? Probably be more difficult because it doesn't show you. But you have very smooth gradient, right? Then the distances, again, we would have to specify the distance. Let's see, 0.1. I don't know if that's too much. And you have to unclick out of it. You see? How it so 0.1 inch, it did like little tiny ones. And then you already know the steps. Kind of shows you the different steps. So for now, go ahead and select the smooth color so you can see, and we have a little star. Make it very small because we need all the space we can get. So this is looking at blending objects, okay? There's also blend modes, which we will look at in a minute. But first, with this assignment 5A, go ahead and draw 2 circles in the middle. We choose similar colors, so I'm going to do one on Shift key. And it's kind of like a dark teal or something close to this. I'm using my swatches. And it is in your instructions if you draw them out. Copy that one. Make it smaller. So I'm just doing what is in your instructions. Doesn't have to be a perfect circle, the ones in the middle, but the other ones would have to be. And for that middle color, you can choose any color you want. It doesn't have to be gray. I mean, you can choose color for it. Now, one thing I want you to change from the instructions. Okay, you notice how in the instructions there are different circles. Well, we will do circles, but at the end of it, we'll make some changes. So keep that in mind because it's not in the instructions. Okay, but for now, I'm going to do like a little ellipsis. So there are 6 of them, little circles, and you can just duplicate it and paste that and then move it around. Okay, so I have one more to go. Make sure you're only working on the top half of the paper, not so you just utilizing the top side, okay? And you can arrange them. Now you already seen these options of transparency and opacity, right? Okay, so now when it comes to opacity, actually, it's interesting that here they call it opacity, but if you want to have the same option like opacity, this window open, you would have to, because anytime you unclick it, it will close it. That's one thing about it. You would go under window, and instead of opacity, you actually look at transparency. Because what's the opposite of opacity, right? Transparency, which is kind of stupid, but because one way they call it opacity, here you have to go and actually find transparency options. Okay. Now transparency options, so there are a few options here. Now you already seen the basic, like you can make it fade, like the middle circle that we have, we can make it fade into the other one, right? That's wow, exciting. So, but there are some other options, and those will go into Photoshop, and I know some of you work with them. Those are the blending modes. So who can tell me what are the blending modes? It is how the colors interact, one color on top, one underneath. Now, technically we don't have anything behind those circles here, only the one here, right? We do. So if we just select that middle circle and go through some options. Now anything that starts with a darken, you will know that this category, everybody has the transparency opened, is all of these 3 will deal with darkening the shape on top of the other one. So looking at the color, okay? Then the next 3 deal with lightening them, okay? I didn't mean to click it. Then we have different effects with the contrast of light, and then so on. So go ahead and see what happens if you go through them. So just test it out right now. Just go one on by one. So you can see what the difference between darken, multiply, color burn. You can see that, right? How two colors overlapping, lighten, screen. That's why it's helpful if you don't have gray. Because if you have gray, it may not happen like this. Okay, that's a overlay, soft light. And the hue deals with color, saturation. Okay, when you're finished going through them all, go ahead and select lighten. So it's lighter, okay? Now, what we will see, and this is going to be the change here. Again, we are dealing with only our board. So I will leave my first top circle alone so we can see the difference. Select the second one. Okay, so second circle. And go ahead, choose multiply. Anything happened? Okay. Keep going. I know we're like, what? We're going to leave it alone for now. Just choose multiply. And we dealt a little bit with blends when you did the text effect. Remember that? When you did multiply and so on, when you had to do the stroke of the text for glowing and all that. Okay, next one. Okay, choose screen. Anything happening? There's a reason. I'm not trying to pull your leg. I told you there's no color behind here. Right? So if there's no color behind, how can it do blend of colors? That means we have to put a color behind. So with that, we will put a box behind this. So select a rectangle tool. And I want you to create, let's do like a lime green shade. This one here from your swatches. And we will put that behind the shape. Okay, just behind there. And then when you are done, go ahead and right click on it, arrange, and send to back. And you already see that the first few we've done, it already changed, right? Because we have color behind it. So first one we didn't touch, second one we did multiply, lighten. Now you can see how that actually is doing something, right? So let's go and select the fourth circle. Let me see if I want to do overlay or soft light. Go ahead and do soft light for the fourth circle. It won't show much on the projector. It's kind of faded. Next one, normal. Choose difference. Alright, so you see how much darker it is. And then the last one, go ahead and choose saturation. It does disappears kind of thing. So maybe not saturation. Choose color. That deals with manipulating color. So when would this be useful? It's a good time to save the document. So go ahead and go File, Save. And then please put it under your documents. Not the one here, just the one on your login, because you need to save it and put it there. Okay, I will save it as well. There it is. So save. Part here, we're going to look at the differences between clipping mask and opacity mask. And to unskilled eye, they may first look like they are the same thing, but they're really not. Right. For that, we will now organize our layers. It's important when you create those, specifically clipping mask should be in a separate layer. So we will name this layer here, layer 1. Go ahead and rename it and name it blends. Okay. Then I want you to lock it. So after you created it, lock it. And go ahead and create another layer. And we will call this clipping mask. Double P. Clipping mask. Okay. And we will leave that unlocked. So right now what we will do, we will create a background for clipping mask. So when you clipping mask, what it is, it clips one object to the next, and it can be a text or it can be an object. So it clips it. What it means when it clips it, kind of trims around it, and it makes the object underneath show through. And the principle here is black and white. Okay, black and white principle. Think about that one for a minute. Okay, black conceals, white reveals, kind of thing. So, and with that, go ahead and just create really quickly a background. And what I want you to do, this is not the most exciting one. So, once you do one, make sure you have space underneath it, because you will need space. So we will do the same shape in a minute, but we'll finish this one, right? Go ahead and navigate to your swatches and click on the bottom of the swatches when it says swatch library menu, right? And then select patterns. And from the patterns, we will choose nature and choose animal skins. Everybody there? I showed the path if you don't see it. Now we can always apply this to our library if we need to, but we don't. And I want you to choose any of the animal skins. You can choose any one you want. I'm just gonna go with the leopard or cheetah, I guess. We don't have a cougar here, right? So choose one. Doesn't matter which one. Okay, I'm just gonna close this because I don't need it anymore. And then we will clip this pattern into text, so the text will show and the pattern on top of it. Does that make sense? So so go ahead and select your type tool, and let us choose type that is pretty bold, so you can actually see it. This doesn't work if you have skinny type. It needs to be a bold text. Okay, so you want to type, and you want to type. We will name this animal. It's kind of small, so I'm going to select it, make it bigger, like darker black, and then the size would be, I selected Rockwell because it's like one of the fattest types. Now if you can't see the text really well, because we do have black text, make it white. So make sure you change the fill to white to show it, okay? And then make it kind of fit within, so something like this is fine. Again, chunky text, because you want to show your pattern. I'm going to add some space. And make sure you have space around it too, okay? So here, that's where I want you to be. What I want you to do is duplicate this whole layer. So select the layer. You can click on that pull down menu for the layers. And then I want you to duplicate. Okay, duplicate it. So it's clipping mask, and I want you to rename this. So duplicate, click in the next, and the first thing I want you to rename is only the clipping. We're gonna call it opacity. Opacity mask. So you should have clipping mask, opacity mask. And with make sure your opacity mask is renamed and selected, and you move that one over. Did you see what I did? Just move it like this, and you, again, make sure you have enough space. Right, so let me know when you're there, so you have these selected. Next thing I want you to do, and notice how it created like the same color for layers. So sometimes it gets confusing because you want to have the opacity mask maybe different shades. So double click on it. If it gives you like too red, go ahead and change the color of your layer. Okay, I'm gonna make it green. That's why I know where I'm at. Okay, so with that, navigate to a clipping mask. You can just click in clipping mask, or you just click on the elements. And I want you to select both the background and the text. Okay. There are two ways, once you select them, there are two ways to create clipping mask. Okay. One is right here. Make release clipping mask, or right on the pull down menu, make clipping mask. So click on that, and it created a clipping mask. I'm going to zoom out so I can see. We will select our text and background that's underneath, and make sure this go into opacity mask, okay? And now we are going to do opacity mask. Anybody knows how to do it? You can tell me. Okay, click on transparency options. Okay. Now, first of all, we need to show more options. Show more options. Now, you notice already it says make mask, or you can go from here, make opacity mask. So click on make mask. And it created a clipping mask. Everybody release this. So go ahead and release. So we will not have a mask, because there's something I want you to do before that to see the difference. I want you to select different letter. Just leave one to be plain white, okay? And I want you to select different shades of gray. And you can vary them. Just go, don't go too really dark, because you will see what happens, but go vary them, okay? Like different shades of gray. There I am. Just different shades. After you do different shades, select, select the direct selection tool. I guess I have to just select it because the V doesn't work when you click in a type. Select both and then click make mask. You see what happened? It's looking at opacity and transparency. Remember, and reveals and hides. So gray shades work with opacity. This will not happen. This will not work if you're doing the clipping mask. So opacity masks are really more powerful. Okay, we can add any of these right now won't work. If I click on them, the options. Okay, I can invert mask. Notice what happens when I'm inverting it. Like concealing and revealing changes. You see that? It means it will. Okay. So more powerful doing opacity mask, and you can do more effects with them. You can add more to it when you work with them. Okay. Any questions on that? I'm gonna stop capture.